Hello. Welcome Monday nights, and it is the weekly wrap up. So we are live in Getting Started in Crypto. We are live on YouTube, X, Instagram, LinkedIn. I think that's it. If there's another one, I've probably missed it. But welcome everyone who's watching. And the viewers keep going up on Instagram every week. So that's probably the biggest audience we've got apart from X. So hi guys, there's a lot more videos that we're like producing and coming across. So yeah, it's going to have heaps of education. So if you're not following me on Instagram or on TikTok, make sure you do. So TikTok is Be Like Lisa N. Edwards, and Instagram is Lisa_N_Edwards. So make sure you follow those because there's lots of educational stuff coming, and there's a really cool offer coming that you can only get on Instagram. So check that out. So let's get straight into this. I'm going to start with Femex because they've been sponsoring us now for a couple of months. And this is our third month of sponsorship with Femex, and we're really loving it. So thank you, Femex. And I just came back from Dubai, where I went to their awesome party, and yeah, it was so much fun. So if you want to get Femex free signals from Getting Started in Crypto, all you have to do is head to Getting Started in Crypto, click the free signals link, and follow all the instructions. You must use our referral code to get the free signals. So follow the instructions, deposit at least $1,000, and then you get the free signals. So get onto that because it's going to make you some money. And that's what we all like to do. So let's have a look where we're going to be making some money, hopefully this week. Not financial advice. These are all just my opinions. But I've been trading for a very, very long time. So my opinion, I think, matters. So let's have a look. I'm going to turn into Nerdy Lisa and check this out. So this is Bitcoin. We're on a 4-hour chart. And we've probably got one more wave coming down. Still, we're going to reject at this 50 MA, come back down and touch the 100 MA. Now, that's sitting at about 93, sort of 100, 200-ish. If we don't get a convincing bounce there, then we're going all the way down here. So the 200 MA is sitting at about 88. It's still possible to do that and stay in pattern. So this is our wave high here at 86,420. So Bitcoin can come back that far. Not that it necessarily will. Sometimes it just stays like sitting quite high. So a very shallow correction. And if this is the start of the new impulse, it's going to hold 93,118. That is our low from the previous swing low in this region. So yeah, that's ideally what we want to hold if that is going up in this sort of region. Now, on the BLX, so this is the monthly chart. Ignore this candle. It's still got plenty of time to go. We're only at the start of this month, so this candle does not make a huge difference. We're still looking at that, eyeing that resistance at about 118. We've got heaps of space in here, so, you know, there's potential that it could come back down before we go back up. So if we drop this back to a weekly, I would say, judging on this pattern, we are going to hold that sort of, 88's the lowest if we pull back here. I do think, we're sort of looking at what we've got, and, this is the weekly chart. It should update in the morning, but we've got a doji, gravestone doji. So if you remember watching this last week and I showed you this gold chart, so this is our gravestone doji here. That's a really strong indication that the market's pulling back. So we're seeing that on the BLX. So if we go back to this Femex chart and we go up to the weekly and we have a look at what, ooh, that looks ugly. So if we have a look, we have closed with that doji. So that does mean we're either, pulling back a little bit, or we're sort of trending sort of sideways for a little bit. So it's not looking like it's going to be the most exciting week, but sort of a smallish pullback. I wouldn't expect that it's massively huge. When we have a look at this weekly as well, the 9 EMA, so exponential moving average, is sitting at that same region that we had the 100 MA sitting at. So that's a strong indicator that that is going to be a strong support in that region. And so that's what I would be sort of stacking my like rebuys in at that point. I'm not ever 100% out of Bitcoin. Sometimes I'll sell 30% and I'll buy a little bit lower. Sometimes I miss that. Sometimes I get it. So, and it's just about dollar cost averaging. The bulk of my Bitcoin never gets sold. So just so everyone knows how I trade that at the moment, because we're still in a bull market. I'm not going to sell that until we've like getting really, really toppy, and we're not there yet. We're not even close. So that's kind of what's happening with Bitcoin. Now, dominance is just pulling back just a touch, probably just going to pull back to about 64, pulling back to retest that breakout zone and continue up. So this is a nice looking chart, and it's still got a lot of momentum happening. So when we're looking at that, we've got our 1, 2, this is kind of an ugly 3, pulling back 64-ish is what we want to watch for. Total crypto market cap almost reached that 302 last week, and we're bouncing on the channel support. So that's a really strong sign. Bitcoin didn't do that, but because the total is doing that currently, that's a strong sign that Bitcoin's likely going sideways. So we want to watch for those, tether prints, essentially. I saw some conversation between Justin Sun and Star from OKX about TRX. Not entirely sure what that's all about, but TRX is actually looking good. Normally when this sort of stuff happens, Justin Sun sort of pumps it. So if he's got to pay bills, he pumps it. So it's kind of starting to curl up a little bit. So this is why I've been watching this. And if we have a look, this is daily. The MACD is starting to turn positive. We're getting less sell pressure. So that's still looking good. I'm going to drop it down to a 4-hour and just see how we're going. We're hugging the MAs. So you can see there's that curl happening in the MAs, and they're slowly sort of curling up. So that's a strong sign we should get a move soon for TRX. So just keep an eye on that. Ethereum, it's gone sideways forever. Didn't get as high as what I thought, but it is kind of crawling sideways. So like I say every week, the best way to break a resistance that is a strong resistance is sideways. So a chart will move sideways, like we've got Ethereum happening here. So watch for that breakout, because that's going to be hopefully a momentum change for Ethereum. Can't say it will be, but we're hoping it will be. And the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is starting to curl up. So this is a really nice looking chart. So we've been watching this forever, and we've come back down and we've like hit that support region. And yeah, so potentially, as I said last week, 127% move in this region for Ethereum, even if it just hits that resistance. So yeah, for me, I've been sitting in this for, I don't know, about a month, I think. Yeah, almost a month. Around about the 7th of April, we hit sort of around this bottom. Yeah, so that one is still looking really nice. Telcoin we looked at last week is still holding the pivot, and 200 MA is coming down to meet that. So this is a strong contender for this week as well for me. As long as we continue holding that pivot, I'll have my stop loss underneath. When we're looking at alts, Turbo might have one sort of wave down maybe to 43.0043, and then should blast off. But it's starting to get a nice curl. So what I look for is an alt curl, and this is the ones that I'm showing today have that, like we were seeing on TRX. So you can see that the indicators are hugging that and curling with essentially. So that just means momentum's changing. It means there's more buys slowly coming in, and that momentum's changing. So when we go up, we can see that TRX has been on the monthly holding that 9 MA and dropping it down to, we can see that that's got some nice curl on there. And on the histogram on the MACD, it is gradually losing that sell pressure. So that's a really good sign as well. I've got BSV for Eric, who every week always asks me, and I never do it. So I'm doing it just for Eric this week. So here you go, Eric. So it's one of the ugliest charts, I'm not going to lie. And that's the reason I don't do it. But it does look like it's starting to change some momentum here. We're holding that 100 MA. This is a daily. We've held like this low that is forever. So, you know, if we pull that back, we've almost, or could have just finished that ABC and had a little bit of slippage below. So depending on, we need to hold, any pullback needs to hold 30. So as long as BSV is holding 30, this is bullish. So it does ideally need to break that 48 mark, because that's the next strong pivot, and it has currently rejected at that. So that's going to be the trading range between 30 and 48 for a little bit until it can gain some momentum. Once it builds up that steam and breaks those regions, 118, and I've got 168 up there. So that's the potential. So depending on how long it takes to get it sort of act together, then yeah, it could take a while. Now I've got a couple more on YouTube that I can see. So let's have a look. I've got Velo. So I haven't looked at these charts for a while. So they could be having all bits and pieces everywhere. So, okay. Now doing this from scratch, unprepared. I'm going to take it up to the daily. I start normally on a weekly or a daily chart. When I'm looking at these patterns, I take off all the old lines, of course. And if I haven't looked at that for quite some time, and then I check kind of where we are. So we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would say that's either an A, B, and a C. So that could be coming back down. B. Can't even draw today. Hang on. Let me have a look. Looks more like, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just measure it, because then we'll get a better idea of what we're dealing with. Okay, so that, I would say that's more impulsive than corrective at the moment. So this is our third wave coming down. And we look to have a leading diagonal. So that's a nice correction. Might get one more wave back down to that 786, which is around 97. But failing that, this looks to have, yeah, a really nice expanding wedge pattern. So let me have a look. Just draw some lines, see where we're going. Okay, so we've had a bit of a breakdown in that region. But if we zoom in on this, and if we can hold this diagonal, we've got kind of an inverse head and shoulders forming in there. So where's my inverse head and shoulders? Head and shoulders. So we've got here, here, here. We want to hold that region there and then come up. So old school charting, just grabbing the length from the head to the shoulders, putting that up there, Looks like if this pattern confirms, it could get to about 2. That would be sort of an ideal target. That is also like a region that's going to have some resistance across this area. So you can see that we've got some resistance sort of sitting here. This is our previous resistance. This came down as a previous support. So likely that region is going to be another resistance. So this head and shoulders is a fairly strong looking pattern when you're looking at like the available information and where the resistances are. When we kind of look at overall pattern, that is, you know, looking expanding wedgie. So once we get out of this, so this might sort of trend sort of sideways into some sort of bearish looking flag though, because if we have a look at where the resistance is, so it could come up into this region and just filling out here before it sort of gains some momentum and breaks up. I do think we're a little bit away from sort of alts really taking off. They are gaining momentum. They're sort of getting their first wave sort of filled out, but I think we're still sort of understanding where the market's going with the tariffs and with that 90-day pause and understanding sort of that information. We've also got the FOMC this week. So whether or not we get a rate cut, Trump wants a rate cut, but whether or not that's right for the economy, we will see. And there's only like a 25% chance that that's going to happen. And that's kind of what economists are saying at the moment. It's just hugely risky when, you know, the market is like that to sort of really push a lot of money back into it. So it needs to sort of ease into it. Once we start getting that quantitative easing happening, I think maybe we'll get a stay on rates this time. Next month we'll get a cut, and then we should start running into that bull run. So this is why patterns like Velo are kind of just going to fill out those voids before they take off. So, you know, that's not an ugly sort of profit-making thing if it confirms that inverse head and shoulders. So where we are here, that's a 70% bounce. So, you know, there's still money in alts. It's not like we're not making money. So if you have a look at the GC monthly results and the weekly results that I put out, like every week we're making 20-30% on coins. Some weeks we're making 70% on coins. It just depends on what these patterns are doing. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you're watching this, because you'll know kind of where the market's sitting at. We're not quite, you know, at the end of this sort of sideways correction, very boring part of the market. But after that happens, like every single cycle, we go through these really boring parts. So if we go back, you can see here, like this is from the 2017 high. We just like went sideways, excruciating sideways for like forever. Like this is like 3 years, you know, and we all got excited when it went from 2,000 to 15,000, which is massive. But then you look at these giant big runs up that we had. Then we got that again from the FTX sort of pullback that we had and Black Swan event, and we just went sideways. And now we've had all of this momentum. So every single time we need to build like supports into Bitcoin, because if you don't have those support regions built back in, Bitcoin just goes straight down. So when you have a look at alts that just go straight up, they just go straight down because there's no support, there's no buyers, there's no nothing. So that's what the patterns need to do. Essentially, Bitcoin is such a highly traded coin and purchase coin with ETFs, with hodlers, with everyone. It's the king of crypto. It really needs to build in those supports. So that's what's happening. So just have some patience. Bull market's still here. We're still going. We're just in the sideways, you know, consolidation sort of phase of this. But if you do want to make some money, make sure you get on to getting started in crypto and check out those FEMX free signals, because they're going to make you money. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you have anything that you need to ask me, you want to know trading stuff, please jump onto X or in Getting Started in Crypto in the chat, and we are more than happy to help. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I shall catch you again next week.